Everyone, welcome to Anime Amigos.
Hello.
I am Calvin Atkinson, the Pokemon Punk.
I'm Reese, the Gundam Guru.
I'm Ren, the JoJo Genius.
I'm Elliot, the Vanguard Vagrant, and we're old. We're getting old. I mean, come on, look at us. You have an elder Gen Z, a younger millennial, someone who probably remembers the war, and Joe Biden's roommate in college. so I went back to we wanted to fix that. We don't want to be old. We want to be young again. So I went to my friend the Wizard. And I asked him to make us a potion. Yes, I did. Yes, I did have to shit on his chest for that, but that's aside the point. So I have brought this potion thing.
That's cool.
That's a hell of a bottle.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I remember he swindled us last time by giving us a love potion, turned out to be his piss. So I will once again try it out. That is very satisfying.
You can't fault him. It worked last time, to be fair.
It
gave me numbers, but not the kind I wanted. So let's give it a try.
It's piss again, isn't it?
Not piss. That is vomit.
Oh, okay. If that's the colour of his vomit, I'm very concerned for his health.
I'm more concerned about the fact that it's just liquid.
I was going to say, yeah, and dark.
So,
Guess we're just forced to be old.
welcome to the real world, bitch.
Let me live in my fantasy world, damn it. This is the Anime Amigos, not fucking Saved by the Bell.
So,
You went there.
we're going to. So, as a result of everything that's happened today, we obviously are doing the 25th anniversary thing. We did it last year as a live show.
Yep.
That was a lot. That was fun.
That was.
Yeah.
We decided we'd make it an annual thing and do the next thing. So this year is 1999 shows. That are
Hence
going
why we have the live audience
Hello,
of
everyone.
one cricket. Hi, cricket.
Applause.
Hello.
Senor.
Why do you sound like Pablo? Pablo, not again. Did you put on a cricket costume again? I told you, Ripley is not into that.
So, incidentally, Reese has picked
The OG Digimon.
OG Digimon. Ren's picked One Piece.
Indeed.
Elliot's picked
The original GTO. The DVDs are invisible. Ignore
and
them.
Jin Roh. I picked Jin Roh the Wolf Brigade, but I would have brought in the DVD, but it is incredibly rare, so I'm not taking my chances with it.
Understandable.
Transporting it. Honestly, it is so. Maybe they've done a reprint that means it's come down in price, but it is really rare for us to see. So I think.
Okay, I don't know. I definitely did not wash this.
You taste it.
It tastes bad.
Oh dear.
Should we talk a little bit about the nature of our surroundings?
I should say yes.
We've been robbed.
I should say basically the place is being done up next week, and we couldn't get a better time to record this because me, Ren, and Elliot are on holiday next week.
Well, now you just announced the whole internet, your houses will be empty.
They don't know where we live.
Cat in there.
So
I live with my parents.
My fiance sometimes.
Well, I'm fucked. But so basically, it's going to get a new paint job by the time we get back.
Yeah.
So
Definitely not that we had a thief come in and steal Cal's entire amiibo collection, and is now on the run with a large sack with a $sign on it.
That's
Joke's
what,
on you because it's me!
Ah,
I stole the amiibos! It's going right up my anus!
I thought you had an unusually large sack.
oh my. So Digimon Adventure came out in. I did not know this had 20. This was the 25th anniversary of Digimon.
yeah, of the original anime. It starts out with the short film, also called Digimon Adventure. And then the anime, which started production 1.5 months afterwards.
Is that right?
Which-
The movie came first.
Yep.
Well, I should explain. One of those. You know the Digimon movie we got over here. It's spliced.
Three.
It's free moves. It's the first one of those.
Yeah,
Sure.
Tai, Kari, and the new Agumon.
Yes.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
the thing about that one is as well. With that one, it was a case of this whole thing was a massive marketing push for a start.
Yep, so originally the franchise started off as a Tamagotchi clone of the boys with the virtual pets.
And they basically commissioned a 13-episode series, say, make this and we'll sell those shit. And then they said, hang on, this is doing really well. Extend this to 54 episodes.
Yeah.
And
which at the time was quite rare for a show to go on that long in one.
especially a marketing-based show as well.
Yeah.
Like, You gotta remember, like, say, like, Tenchi Muyo, which didn't have as much to sell. That only went on for like a few episodes.
Yeah.
So
the only other one similar around the same time will be the original Pokemon anime.
But again, Pokemon, that was Nintendo's backing that one,
Yeah,
so that's always going to have a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
If that's working, and again, look at that, that's been on till today.
Yeah, but it's still going even now on Netflix.
Digimon, though, it was always seemed like the cool option when you were there.
Yeah, well, but most of the time in mainstream media it was always a Pokemon rip-off. Even though it's really not when you actually look at the franchises. The only thing similar are just the names.
Yeah, I think that's probably why it's Digimon, Pokemon, it involves creatures that evolve. That might have been probably the stigma of it.
But again, Digimon made more sense about how the evolution works. The evolution works similar way your digital files work. You go from a megabyte to a gigabyte to a terabyte. It's also fascinating just how much they work.
The difference is with this one evolution, they literally went, go back, I want to be monkey!
Pretty much. Well, like Pokemon, where evolution is permanent.
Yeah.
Digimon can go up and down the tree any time.
And also the art styles are drastically different as well. I mean, apart from like the kind of rookie baby stages, they resemble Pokemon more, I would say. But like
but in this one, they have guns.
Indeed.
Well,
and usually a lot of belts.
Well, that's for sure when you get to the Ultimate Stage and onwards.
True.
Otherwise, baby to rookie to champion, they're pretty normal if you look at them like Greymon, big orange dinosaur, Garurumon, big white wolf.
Yeah.
Also, while we're on the subject though, Koromon, small bunny to dinosaur.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Problem.
The one
little quadrupedal creature to Angel Woman, of course.
No, Angel Man.
Sorry, Angel Man.
That's the cat that becomes the Angel Woman.
Oh no, because with Gatomon, the line's even more messed up because the rookie Salamon, dog, Gatomon, cat, Angel Woman, Magnadramon, pink dragon.
Oh yeah, what the fuck?
It changes forms every stage.
Jeez.
Wasn't it?
I'm sorry, did they have some leftover concept art for other Digimon that just never got to, so they just went, fuck it, give it to this?
Because Angemon goes to Magna Angemon, slightly beefier angel, and then to Seraphimon, angel out of Warhammer.
Yeah, very much.
But that's the one thing that Digimon Frontier got right. No, was it the one where the kids turned to Digimon?
Yeah, that's Frontier.
The one thing they got right was actually having the reunion of Salmon, Patamon, and Terriermon.
Nope, Lotmon.
Lotmon, that's it, because Lotmon becomes Cocomon.
Yep, and then, the other way around. Cocomon becomes Lotmon, which then goes down to Rubymon, who was the villain for the O2 portion of the Digimon film. So, this franchise is all over the place.
In terms of the first 50...
I'm sorry, was this written by the same guys who wrote fucking Fate?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, actually, Mamoru, it's kind of Mamoru Hosoda's baby, really. Cause,
Digimon.
Yeah, he has a big portion to play. He did. He was only meant to direct as far as I'm aware, he was only meant to direct the first movie, like the short that would kick the thing off. Then he was put more, when it was going to be more of a bigger thing, he was put more into the role of, now you're on-time director. It's rather coincident he was chief director during the Meiotis Monarch, which is the peak of the first incarnation.
Yeah.
Again, Meiotismon, brilliantly designed villain. The voice actor they got for the dub was excellent.
Really good. It's just quite interesting, the progressive villains we got. Devimon, which is like a devil angel. And then Meiotismon, just a classic Bram Stoker vampire interpretation.
And then between that you had Etamon.
Everyone's favourite.
Don't shit on that.
Yeah, everyone's favourite Alvis impersonator. Yeah. Which is also one of Ren's decks.
Yes, I haven't fully constructed it.
It then somehow came back as Metal Etamon later.
Yes, and he has more forms in a stage show later on, where he's King Etamon.
Yes.
Where he's golden as a crown.
So there's
Pink poop crown.
But again,
and then there's a Pokemon who has some of the best English dub lines ever.
Yeah. So the big difference between dub and sub is just how many jokes are in the English dub.
Yeah.
Because in the Japanese they play a lot more seriously.
Yeah.
Whereas compared to English dub, it's like no, everything's mostly a joke.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they were kind of appealing more. Were they appealing more for the child audience in the West?
There's a Fox. Because this was
Fox Kids.
Fox Kids was the ones. Fox got the license for it, and they were really pushing it. And I think they didn't stop pushing it until after the movie flopped.
Yeah.
That was the point when they were like, this isn't working. Because if you ever notice. If you ever look at the marketing they did for after when Tamers was coming out, They did not market that shit at all.
No, which is a real shame because same as
He's the best one.
Yeah, seen as season 3, even in the marketing.
You ever noticed in that one now, it took so long for them to become champion, so it actually meant something when they became champion level.
Yeah, and that carried on the tradition of comedy, where Growlmon couldn't digivolve. It was just stuck as Growlmon for ages.
That was fucking hilarious. But
the big change with the original anime, especially the first arc with the Digimon arc on Foul Islands, is played more as a survival scenario, because they're transported to a parallel world. They have no food, no drinkable water, and they're literally trying to survive.
Well, they had that funny episode where they were, early on, it was like episode 3, I think, where they were trying to work those payphones that are there for no apparent reason, and all of them. Was it in the Japanese version? They had those weird things like the number you've dialed has not been recognised. Yeah,
because that's a lot of comedy. Because over in Japan, they still use a lot of payphones.
Yeah, of course they do. Yeah, but again, it's rather interesting they do the whole the first movie they do the whole going to the internet, where at the time when internet usage is not as like that film would play a lot differently now that with the age of social media.
Oh, massively.
Although you don't think you'd still get Less Than Jake doing the soundtrack to the total digital collapse. There's a way. Yeah, seriously, it's all my best friends are metalheads. It's the song they play over the collapse of the whole digital environment in the human world.
Yeah, the original soundtrack is weird for the movie because you've got Fatboy Slim on there.
No way.
Yeah.
Don't they have All Star playing like while they're remembering a Digimon who died?
Yeah, and in the original
that was weird.
And in the original version, it's a quite operatic thing of saying goodbye. Whereas this one is kind of. Which is weird because again, both versions do have the whole Digimon are reborn as eggs, which flies in the face of continuity. But I'll let them have it.
Yeah,
because the whole point of continuity is the reason they can be reborn in the digital world is the data has somewhere to go.
Well, it goes back to the primary village.
The primary village where we meet one of my favourite Digimon, Electmon.
Yeah,
who I always wanted to get in the Play S1 game,
which is very easy to get, but you probably chose the wrong egg.
I did. Yes. Yeah. Anyway, but that happens. But the problem is, if they die in the human world, the data's got nowhere to go.
It just disperses.
Which is why we get the whole scene with Wizardmon coming back briefly in Adventure 02.
Yeah, and then later on in other spin-offs.
Which, by the way, that's the most damaging moment for kids our age. Wizardmon's death.
Yeah.
No, I thought it would be that scene from the Pokemon movie.
That too.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, except everyone. No, I think everyone at the time was like, "What the hell is this?" I think even at the time we were like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah. I still remember people online remembering how sad they were during that scene in the Pokemon movie.
Yeah, I remember being very sad.
The thing about the thing though is, again, the Pokemon movie's more. If you compare the two movies when they come out, and they come out at the height of their success level. Pokemon, the first movie comes out at the height of Pokemon's success. Digimon movie comes out at the height of Digimon's success. And I will say that this is rather prevalent to the theme today because the Pokemon movie comes out in the UK in 1999.
So sorry, just to clarify, do you think the Digimon movie came out at the height of its success, or do you think that led it to greater success?
No, actually, I'm going to change my mind. I think the Digimon movie comes out just after the height of its success, because then O2's happening, and I remember at the time people were saying O2 does not match up to the first season.
Yeah, there's a significant drop in quality.
Was there?
Yeah. So the 3 films, the first one was Digimon Adventure, the original shorts.
Yeah.
And then it's the R War game with Diaboromon. So that takes place after the end of the original anime.
Yeah.
And then it's the Hurricane Touchdown of the Golden Digimentals, which covers the O2 portion.
Okay, yeah.
And all 3 of those are smushed together.
Yeah,
and that takes place roughly about halfway through the O2 timeline.
There's a plot. So there's a whole plot line about the original Destins being kidnapped. They didn't make it to the Western version.
Yeah, that was completely cut.
And but they then try to sort of mix it in with Diaboromon, which makes no sense to combine them together. And then they also have to do the whole emphasis on Willis. So Willis was in that movie, and he was foreshadowing what was going to happen in the next one. But there's not that much of a connection between the 3 movies.
No.
So I think that the thing is, as well, it's such a cultural touchstone as well. I think out of all of these, the one that's going to stick with people, I think Ren's one is going to stick with people. The 2 that are the big cultural touchstones. Ren's one's going to stick with the the younger fans, I'd say, because people getting into One Piece now.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like Digimon's going to do that with the old. I'll put it this way: not as many people showed up when they brought back the original cast.
Yeah, especially when they had the whole Adventure reboots
And
a few years back. That completely flopped.
that
It was
flopped.
bad. That's
Yeah.
fine.
That flopped. The Adventure Try. It didn't flop as bad, but that still kind of flopped.
Yeah, Try was bad, which is that collection of 7 films.
I wasn't too upset until I got to film 6. Film
Really?
6, because I was kind of going. Film 6 was the point where I'm like, okay, this clearly had no point. They were making it up as they went along.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of like the fact they put a lot of emphasis on a lot of the other Destins like TK and Joe, and they got their own movie to get there to mega level.
Yeah.
But I like the fact they actually went back to the original Digi-Destin.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that was so much better than the name they came up with in the Japanese.
Yeah.
I think they were just like the Chosen Ones in Japanese or
Yeah,
something like that.
that's exactly it.
What is it called? The Digi-Destin.
Yeah, I also I know it's not used in the TCG, but I also love Digivolve. I think that's such a good term, and it also distinguishes it more from Pokemon.
What?
Yeah, because the original is literally just evolve.
Yeah, Digivolve is so much better.
Yeah.
So I think on the one hand they did get that's the one thing they definitely got it right compared to like the first time to dub your one, for example, and we'll get into that.
Yes, luckily I've never seen the 4Kids dub.
That was my first exposure to One Piece.
Wow, goodness.
Was that the one where they had Sanji do the awful French accent?
Yes.
Oh, maybe. No, I've seen clips because I've seen Sanji with the lollipop, and I've seen
don't know
all
what
the pointing,
Yeah. Yeah.
etc.
Stop
The
it. We'll shoot.
invisible guns.
Yeah.
More invisible guns, or they reworked. I remember they reworked one into like this extendo hammer or something.
If I remember in one of them, they replaced a whale with an iceberg in 4Kids.
Incredible.
Yeah, that was true. Yeah, they did because
Why?
because they weren't going to do the plot line that was going along with that character. So
Oh, I know which one you're on about as well.
Yeah.
that was why. Well,
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think though in terms of how they handled? Do you think there's any room after the final film? Is there any room to go back to that cast? No.
At this point, no, because they have released a new film afterwards called A New Beginning that focuses on the O2 characters. And it's definitive, the original cast cannot come back.
Right. Okay.
Even though the epilogue for O2 says they can, that's now non-canon.
Thank God, I hated the epilogue for O2.
Yeah.
I hated that epilogue
Why was it negative?
because of several things. It basically.
Yeah, so, the major thing was it was a flash forward about 20 years, and they paired up a lot of the old Digidestin together to have kids, and a lot of people were not happy with the choices.
No. Okay.
Matt and Sora was the one that went down the worst because it was very clear they were setting up Matt.
Yeah, Matt and Ty.
There's definitely some people that wasn't wanting that, but no, it was very clear they were setting up Ty and Sora.
Yeah.
and they never got around to that. I also some of them made sense. Like Ty as a diplomat made sense.
Yeah, considering he was the original leader, so he's like the touchstone between the two worlds.
Yeah.
Joe as a doctor between the two worlds, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's always aim.
Good, but some of them, like Sora, completely gives up football.
Yeah.
And I'm saying football.
Yeah.
To do
It's a flower arranging.
flower arranging.
Interesting.
Which seems like a real backpedal where she starts off as a tomboy, and now all of a sudden during O2 and onwards, she has her femininity forced on her by her mother.
Yes, and then
you got
accepts it.
Yeah.
TK and Kari don't end up together.
Right.
Unless you listen to the dubs in other countries where they just said, screw the canon, they do get together.
Lol. And he remains a Discord mod for life.
So they legit just did a Gundam Witch from Mercury then.
Yeah.
Where they just said, no, screw you, it's canon.
But in the case of Witch from Mercury, that was Bandai Namco suggested that they wouldn't get together, and then the original production company Sunrise said no, they did.
Yeah, which is funny, tangents off into that. The staff who worked on the anime released an art book afterwards showing no, they are married. Here's them in wedding dresses with rings on.
Aww.
So TK and Kari did get together at the end. Yes.
In other countries, but in the official canon they don't.
Yes, right, and so there's other ones like, and there was also like Davis was just stuck with his food cart, which he wanted to do.
Yeah, which is his big business of opening up one of his pull-around food carts of just noodles.
He basically creates the McDonald's of food carts.
Love that. That's
Yeah.
fun.
So his splash screen at the end, it's him walking through a traffic jam in New York, just pulling it along with him, going to all the cars with Vemon with him.
I love that so much.
Again, Cody, no one cares about Cody.
Yeah, Cody's not even a character in O2, he's just there.
Cody is like the most non-character. Even Yo Lee had more.
Yeah.
But then again, no one really cares about Yo Lee either.
Well, yeah, because a lot of people weren't happy with the way she turns out, how she marries Ken, and together they're detectives.
So in terms of the 50 odd episode, 55 odd episodes,
54.
54 episodes that you watch, like where does that cover? Because obviously, like you mentioned, Devimon and Myotismon. Does it?
Then they go for the Dark Masters arc. The Dark Masters arc was where a lot of people said Adventure 01 kind of dipped. I mean, you got 4. The villains range in quality. Like Metal Seedramon, he didn't have enough time to have a presence.
These guys, and then
the big thing he did was call for supporting character.
Yes.
To make him threatening with Waymon.
And then created those things that for the biggest cock tease ever with that stupid other world arc that they never fucking... They took... Well, actually, no, they did eventually answer the question, but it took fucking ages.
I never thought I'd hear cocktease and Digimon in the same...
It took fucking ages, and they still never said what Kari's link to the whole thing was.
Yeah, it's a whole from the Dark Ocean.
The Dark Ocean never really played... They had to sort of cram a fucking explanation for it later.
We've just had 4 fuckings in a minute.
But yeah...
Are we sure you don't have Tourette's?
Then they had Puppetmon.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah, he was quite funny. He ended up beating the shit out of Etamon, and he came back.
And he created, he created the big rift between Matt and Tai.
Yeah, so because his plan pretty much was genius of getting Cherrymon to go to Matt saying, "No one likes you, no one respects you."
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that then forces Sora to go off.
Yeah.
She gets depression for a while. Then Matt comes back, goes to Metal Grumon, beats the shit out of Tai and Agumon.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Puppetmon was probably the most effective villain. Come to it. Machine Dramon, well, he doesn't do much except give Tai PTSD.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah, so he pretty much has like very few voice lines. Machine Dramon,
even though he's got a cool voice.
Yeah.
And then Piedmon, which is the...
Oh, yeah.
Everyone treated him like he was the big bad, but he was not that effective by the end. The only thing we got out of that was the whole Lady Devimon and the fact she had that fight with Angelomon, and Izzy saying, "I know I somehow shouldn't find this appealing, but somehow I do."
so much so that trope is carried on even to this day.
Yeah.
Of course, Red Nose with Mastimon.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
And in all the video games, they have pretty much a softcore lesbian makeout to go into it.
Incredible.
Including Survive.
I didn't realise that's how they Digify. That's crazy.
So, so as a result, do you think the original is worth going back to now?
Oh, definitely. I say he does still hold up.
I mean, as someone who watched it in his 20s for the first time, I don't know. I think it's definitely something that would appeal to you more if you grew up with it. If you're a newcomer watching it as an adult, it may be a bit iffy for you.
That's what I think the big difference is. I think Pokemon is good at getting new fans. I don't think Digimon was ever going to do that.
I think especially actually, because if you're already a fan of Digimon, you'll have seen maybe the reboots that they did, which was shocking, and then you'll want to go back to something that was actually nostalgic and good.
Yeah.
But is it that?
But then again, the reboot's not going to get new fans though. Is it?
Exactly. But that's what I mean. Is like the original is still there by the sounds of it, and it's still good quality.
What's your? Is it? Your favourite you said is Tamers.
Tamers, yeah, hands down.
I've always close call between Tamers and 01. Mainly just because of how well the Myotismon arc is handled, where they did actually... Because we always kind of wondering, what would Digimon in the real world be like? And then they actually answered the question of, oh yeah, it'll be fucking chaos in Japan.
Yeah. And it was like a cataclysm level event. Because the whole thing where Togemon Digimon Solidimon is with a Dark Tyrannomon just killing people, stomping rounds.
Wow, yeah. The only Digimon franchises I've actually seen is some of original Digimon series and some of Ghost.
Well, we've got a lot to cover, so I think we need to move on to Elliot's one next.
Yeah. So overall, I would recommend going back to
I would say I'd recommend it as well.
Great. So my one was Great Teacher Onizuka.
Yay! I've heard so much about this show. It's really good.
So it's about Eikichi Onizuka, 22 years old, single. He does introduce himself like that every time. Nice. Who is an ex-biker gang leader and basically applies to become a teacher at a prestigious school and claims to be the greatest teacher in the world.
So why is he looking to become a teacher?
It's never really explained.
Okay.
At first it's kind of implied as to sort of gawk over high school girls.
Right. So
it's what's a hero?
Okay, it's the thing. It's a 90s anime. It's a 90s anime for adults. There's going to be some iffy things.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, at first when I watched the first episode, wasn't sure I was going to like it.
Yeah.
The show doesn't have a very good start when it starts with the main character sitting under an excavator specifically to look up high school girl skirts.
Oh, damn.
So it must get better.
It does. I'm happy to say, like a few episodes in, I was just like, okay, I'm into this. After 10 episodes, I was just like, oh right, yeah, I like this.
Now,
It's actually really good.
how did you watch this one in the end?
Netflix.
Netflix,
Oh, it's
right?
on Netflix. That's good.
Yeah.
And did you watch it in sub or dub?
Dub.
Okay.
The dub is mixed.
Okay.
First of all, I think Onizuka's voice actor does a good job, though that's partly because I'm certain the guy who's doing it is just doing Spike Spiegel's voice. Like, it does sound a lot like him. But everyone else, a lot of the characters kind of Like, there's one character in it called Kikuchi, or Kikuchi rather, whose voice actor isn't great. It sounds like he's trying to do like a nerdy accent, but doesn't really work. And like, they're just there are other characters who don't. Kanzaki doesn't sound too great. Nomura sounds a bit like she's trying too hard to do the ditzy voice. It doesn't work. Mariah's voice actor is good, but aside from
If you had to compare this then to a show like that you've recently seen over the last few years, are there any that stand similar sort of space?
not really. This one's actually pretty unique. You don't get that many shows about teachers.
One I can think of off the top of my head is Akashic Records of Bastard Magical Instructor.
I watched an episode of that.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, I watched some of that with you. It was early on in Anime Amigos.
Very early on in Anime Amigos we were watching that one. So that's the one I can think of.
Yeah, it was back when YouTube was still sharing a bed.
Funny.
Yeah. The thing I really like about this is, first of all, Onizuka himself is like, he's a pervert, but he gets his comeuppance about it constantly.
Yeah.
And what I like about him is that in this school, it's kind of implied that a lot of teachers don't really give a shit about the students. Like, the vice principal, for example, is constantly calling them brats and ungrateful, and Onizuka is like shown to be one of the few teachers who actually because the classroom he's in charge, he's the homeroom teacher of, really doesn't like teachers, specifically because something happened to one of the students that involved a teacher. So since then, their main goal is basically just get every teacher they have fired.
Yes.
And so it's up to Onizuka. So Onizuka basically tries to understand them and befriend them while also avoiding getting fired.
So the big teacher anime I can think of is Assassination Classroom.
Yeah.
Which is obviously a very different premise, but also about like the kids kind of understanding things about themselves.
Kind of.
I think Assassination Classroom. I think it's more about. It is kind of a bit about that, but it's also about the fact Koro Sensei is the first one to see any sort of potential in them.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's and I think Assassination Classroom does go more into societal structures around education and class.
Yeah. And what was? So sorry, just to ask about the kids then, are they all from like kind of disadvantaged backgrounds? Are they seen as troublemakers?
A lot of them, they're not really from like sort of bad parents or anything. There's one character, Mirai, whose mother had him when I think she was like 13.
Okay, right.
So he's sort of become really protective to the point where people keep joking he's a mama's boy.
Japan is fucked up.
In fairness, my dad was given up for adoption. His mum was 14 when she had him.
Oh,
That happens more often than you think.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of that. But the weird thing is that though, for me, I didn't know much about this one for quite a while. It took me a while to learn about this one.
Yeah.
Do you think I don't remember Netflix marketing at all that they got this.
I don't think they did. No,
I didn't.
It's because this isn't I think this is more of a cult show.
Yeah.
Than a really big one. Like, it has its fans and its fans love it, but it's not really as well wide and known in like the space.
That's what I understand of it, because the only time I'd heard of this show was in a Giguk video from like probably about 10 years ago now. And I mentioned it like being like a really
I've looked up I looked up the manga and most of it is out of print, so you're gonna have to get that digitally really if you want to get it.
Because the kind of like school storyline it reminded me of, it was a film I'd seen ages ago, but it was like some kind of like school in America, like a lot of kind of ethnic diversity and like kind of disadvantaged backgrounds and things. And
So Sister Act 2.
Back
in the habits.
However, yeah, wow, very good.
Well, hell of a reference.
Very good one. Claire's a big fan of Sister
Oh,
Act,
really?
so yeah, she told me about the premise the other day. But I can't remember the name of the film, but it's like the teacher also from like kind of a more disadvantaged background goes in and relates to the kids and then brings a lot out of them.
School of Rock.
But that as well is like, that's also what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's kind of a good comparison actually.
School of Rock would actually sound like a good comparison for this.
Yeah, But obviously, there's a lot of comedy in this. It's actually it's quite funny. There's that I keep mentioning the vice principal. He got a new car like very early on that keeps getting destroyed.
Oh yes,
just out of because I don't know, Onizuka's like saving kids from committing suicide. They just so happen to land on top of the car. Like sometimes kids or the teacher will take, or like one of the teachers, Futsuki I think her name is, will take the car to try and help Onizuka, but she's not a good driver, so she ends up crashing the car. Also, I didn't realize how many memes came from the show. Like, I don't know if you recognize this one. There's the one of the bowl man smiling and then goes,
yes, in the car.
Yeah, that's from that show. Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah,
wow.
So that's where that meme comes from.
Yeah, like.
All I was thinking with the car, as well as the guy from Avatar going, "My cabbages!" It's
there's all the
they must be.
Yeah, as I said, all the comeuppance that happens with Onizuka as well just tend to be quite funny. Like he keeps asking Mirai, for example, to buy him shit.
Right.
Just like small things.
Yeah.
And shit like that. Like it's a lot to the show that is really funny, and the kids are bastards as well.
Yes.
Like the kids can really be. Like what's her name again? Kanzaki, for example, is like someone who hadn't been to school for a while, then came back, and she's basically a terrorist. She at one point she sets off a bunch of explosives to destroy all the windows in the school.
Holy shit! Wow.
Yeah, there's one student in particular who especially hates teachers and absolutely refuses to get in. To sort of accept Onizuka because she because the thing that happened to the student was she was her best friend. So
interesting. And what would you say your main takeaways from the show then?
I don't know really. It's just kind of a fun non-traditional shonen anime because it wasn't a Shonen Jump.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, how long is it?
43 episodes.
Oh,
so it's a decently length one.
I mean, does it actually adapt the entirety of the manga?
I don't know because the ending to it is pretty conclusive. But there's like 25 volumes of the manga.
Oh wow!
Give me a second. I'm going to see if it's on the app.
46, yeah, 46 episodes.
So 43.
Oh, 43.
Well, it's not a Shonen Jump's app, weirdly.
Yeah, it's not. It was a show. I think it was one of the sort of lesser known Jump magazines because it was a lot more adult than the other one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just
going to. Sounds like it, especially with the terrorism.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would like to know that definitely some free moments. There's definitely some free moments in it. Like Onizuka doesn't go full Kazuma or Rudy, for example, but there are definite moments where you do just look at it and kind of think,
Yeah.
But I will say, going through those moments are definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think also, because again, we're looking at a totally different sort of like set of, not totally different, but cultural rules from where we are now. So it's always interesting to look back and go, okay, well, it's weird that was so acceptable then. Acceptable.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got the information on where from wheredoestheanimeleaveoff.com. Very useful website for this kind of thing. It said basically you start from, if you want to continue the story, you start from chapter 106 and you ignore 42 and 43, which gave the anime-only ending.
Yeah, the anime. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The anime, you do kind of get an anime-only ending.
And how many chapters is it in total?
About 240 odds.
Right. Okay. So actually, probably
it did quite a bit of it, but I don't do it as an anime-only ending.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's because the manga was still ongoing.
Yeah, they do that a couple of times. Fruits Basket 2001 had that as well, and
also Spice and Wolf, the original, did that.
Spice and Wolf did that, sort of.
Well, that's an interesting question. Then, do you think it would be worth them remaking it?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think it's a product of its time. I think a lot of the elements that were in it back then would not be well received by a lot of modern audience.
Do you think this would get would this get a Twitter outrage if it came out, if they did a reboot now?
I mean, Twitter rages about everything. So
Yeah. So that's a bad example, because I saw people raging about Nagatoro ending the other day.
I love that quote that you said. That I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, no, that was.
Maybe
I'll not say it now. I'll say just look up. There's someone with a Goku profile pic head said it, and it was, and it is quite funny.
Yeah, because let's face it, it's always the person with an anime profile.
I was going to say, guarantee they're from Latin
it's
America.
A Luffy or it's always a Luffy or a Goku.
Ironically, sometimes it's people with the Nagatoro profile picture.
What do you? So actually, that's a decent point on all this thing. Do you think? Do you think anyone would want to reboot it? Right? Because I would have thought I can Spice and Wolf getting a reboot out completely, and obviously that's now happened. Do you think anyone would want to do it?
I don't know, because I feel like it would have the same sort of problems as Spice and Wolf does, because it does have 43 episodes, so it does adapt a lot of the manga. So you have to go like 2, maybe 3 seasons before you actually got to nothing that the old anime adapted.
Yeah, so like Fruits Basket, that had to go a long time. Like a lot of season 1 is just from 2001. It's when you get to season 2 they start doing the stuff they didn't get around to.
Yeah, the difference is the original Fruits Basket was like 24 episodes. This is like, again, 43.
Yeah, it's interesting thinking about, like you said, it occupying quite a unique space. I think trend-wise, like we do get a lot of remakes of 90s shows, and that's becoming more popular.
Yeah, because it's always popular to milk nostalgia.
Yeah, again, Kinesamon Legacy. Who would have thought that would ever come back?
Yeah,
So, would you say recommend it?
Yeah, I recommend it. I think turn your brain off, ignore the, don't mind the iffy bits. You're gonna have a grand time. Onizuka's a great character.
So for the UK audience, that's on Netflix. Digimon, I believe
it's on Crunchyroll now.
Crunchyroll, but I would recommend if you want to get the dubs, you should pick up the
DVDs.
The movies are also on Crunchyroll, are they?
I'm not sure about the movies. It's just series.
No, I don't think they are.
Okay.
No, but also, you don't need the movie.
No.
Especially because they don't take out the Angela Anaconda short.
Oh yeah,
that's
still on there.
God, that.
Yeah, it's a short so bad it led to
yes!
a couple divorcing.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Because I'm convinced he wants.
I remember Tomska saying he invited a friend when he was a kid. He invited a friend over to watch a Digimon movie, and they stopped as the Angela Anaconda short started. And the kids went to his mum saying that Tomska showed him demonic images.
Wow, if they thought that was demonic, I mean, fucking hell.
I mean,
don't show them Devilman Crybaby.
No.
The interest of it, I think one of the good quote, I hate to quote Nostalgia Creep, but I think he had a good one. It says it looked like a Terry Gilliam cartoon if they drank moonshine. So let's move on to your one, Ren. It's the cornerstone of Japan.
Alligator, you may roll,
So incidentally, I didn't realise how big One Piece was until I actually went to Japan.
Oh, really?
It is fucking.
Yeah, it's immense.
I knew it was big. I know it was big with anime fans. In Japan, it's a cultural touchstone.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere without One Piece stuff being there. I think I got one figure that said 1 in 8 people in Japan read One Piece.
Wow. Seriously, that's incredible.
1 in 8 people.
Yeah.
So you just go to 8 people. Do you read One Piece? Eventually, you get well, they're going to say yes. So what do you? Okay, so I think we're going to really restrict this to the East Blue arc because that was what our first exposure to it was.
So that's the first 61 episodes of the anime. Disclaimer: I didn't watch all the way through.
It ends with the Arlong Park, doesn't it?
No, it ends at the Logtown arc. So after Luffy, basically Luffy making it into the Grand Line.
Okay.
61.
And we meet General Smoker, who will be the most useless villain for ages.
Captain Smoker.
Captain Smoker.
Yes, but I mean, he does recur.
He helps in the Crocodile Wars arc.
He's actually one of the more competent marine characters, to be honest with you.
That's not saying a lot.
Yeah, to be honest with you, it doesn't take much to elevate yourself.
The other guy I think of is the freezing guy, just says "whoa" on every sentence. Like even in the dub, he's hilarious with the way he does it. They have to stretch out the voice still.
Yes, there are a few instances of that in the dub which I enjoy.
The downside to only talking about East Blue is that we won't be able to talk about the glorious Mr. 2.
I know, it's so sad.
And also another thing, some of the great villains though show up in that.
Yeah, like some of the
Captain
most
Buggy,
yeah, Buggy is
Koro.
Kuro. Oh, Kuro, yes, yeah.
I've already mentioned Arlong.
Yep, Don Krieg. Who else did you get?
Oh, Don Krieg.
What's the
I like Don Krieg. I thought he was
what's the one who eventually eats a beauty fruit?
Alvida.
Alvida,
yeah.
Well, this actually might end up. We might end up repeating a bunch of ourselves from our One Piece Netflix.
Oh yeah.
But I tell you, like, I mean, because maybe I think a lot of people's first introduction to One Piece might have been the live action. Like, it's really interesting to rewatch it and think, oh shit, that's where this was pulled out and put here, and then this was relocated, and then this character doesn't show up. But
they're going to be very surprised that Kofi isn't in it much.
Yeah, Kobe's like 5 episodes, maybe 3. He's in it very little.
He's in it very little up until a certain point, and Luffy's grandfather doesn't play that much of a role in it.
No, he shows up a couple of times, and you don't even know it's his grandfather at that point.
Yeah,
it's not revealed at all.
They also, I'm ashamed they didn't keep him having the sleeping thing from the.
Yes, I know, and the reason actually that he wears the hat in the anime is because they in the manga as well, they didn't want people to make the connection that it's Luffy's grandfather. So obviously that was meant to be a reveal much later on.
But the character that didn't show up in the live action version that does show up in the anime is Django.
Oh, I'm so upset that Django's not in there.
I know, it was so sad.
Oh man.
And even the Lion Tamer.
I remember when
Bucky's crew.
Yeah, to go to another point, when it was being shown on Toonami, I remember one of the things they hyped up was the Veggie Pirates versus Django.
Yes, yeah.
3,
so
2,
sad.
1,
Django!
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, but probably best not to have a Michael Jackson impersonator in your Netflix live action.
Yeah. I didn't really realise he was a Michael Jackson impersonator.
Did the moonwalking not clue it in?
I haven't seen the anime, I've read the manga.
Oh, sorry, right, okay. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure if you turn the pages fast enough.
If you read left to right like an
No, just do like flip, let's go.
Which is annoying because Kuro is one of the best villains of.
Yeah, I love Kuro, and actually, interestingly, because I looked this up later when I originally watched the anime, there's like a part when just after the East Blue arc when Luffy first makes it into the Grand Line, and it recaps like Buggy and Kuro and Don Krieg and Arlong and things reading the newspaper and seeing his wanted poster.
Yeah,
and that's anime only because like Kuro goes, you made it.
They bring it back in the live action though, don't they?
Sort of.
Oh,
yeah.
They still show a lot of people reading the newspaper ending with Shanks.
Oh, probably then, yeah. Yeah, it definitely happens with Shanks, but
who also doesn't show up much at all in the anime at that point.
Yeah, he's literally there in the flashback, and that's it.
You can kind of tell Oda was playing the long game with it from the beginning.
One of the dumbest cuts in the 4Kids version that led to.
What was?
They did the whole thing with
Shanks losing his arm.
No. Shanks getting the wanted poster off what's his face, the one Zoro needs to beat.
Oh, Mihawk.
Mm. He gets. They actually say he has the whole thing of I can't let you leave, but they don't show the party afterwards, so it implies they go into a massive fight.
Okay, yeah. Oh, that's stupid.
That was a stupid cut.
Yeah. That totally misrepresents their relationship.
How many? So I was the only one who their first exposure to One Piece was the 4Kids dub.
Yes.
With the amazing rap.
Yeah. Yes.
Although
it's made of rubber.
Although after just after watching the Digi-Rap in the movie, I'd say that's worse.
That's saying something.
But it's and it's a shame because we lose Kaiba's voice.
I tell you though, watching the dub, like hearing all of the voices, I know like Ash Ketchum's in it as Luffy, Chris Sabat as Zoro, Krillin as Usopp. It's great rewatching this, and so many characters from Full Metal and just across anime dub history. It's brilliant.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of big names that come into it. I mean, I'm not the biggest One Piece fan in the world.
Oh, I love it.
Check yourself.
But I would say out of the big 3 of Shonen, One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto, One Piece is the one I align myself with the most.
Okay, sure.
Did you not like the other 2 much then?
No, I like all 3 of them. But I would say that wasn't the question. Which one?
See, that surprises me because you are just a pirate. You've always classified yourself as a pirate.
But I do like pirate shit, yeah, and
which is funny because he really doesn't like piracy.
Yeah.
But
that's just my pirate ship.
The thing that bothers me the most though with One Piece is just the sheer crushing length of the arcs.
Yeah, I mean,
like the Skypiea arc was when it really was the one where I was like, oh fuck fucking hell, how long are they going to drag this out?
I'm still in the Skypiea arc. I'm enjoying it.
But yeah, see,
That's because you're not watching you're reading the manga, not watching the anime. The anime had to stretch that shit out.
Agreed, and I would say actually the problem with that, like, if that's a difficulty, then you probably won't enjoy the rest of One Piece because the arcs become longer and longer.
I know.
Yeah, wasn't there one arc that lasted like 5 years in the manga?
Yeah, I think there was one that was roughly like a sixth or maybe a quarter of One Piece's entire duration by that.
I think that might have been one I just talked about. The one that lasted 5 years.
Yeah,
What's your favourite? So they obviously we could go on all day about the dumb cuts in 4Kids, but
Yes, indeed.
we can toast that too. What's your favourite arc of the East Blue? Of the East Blue arc, which is your favourite storyline?
See, I love the Baratier arc where we meet Sanji. I love his backstory.
That makes me hungry.
Yes.
Oh god, Sanji's backstory is the best one.
I love Zeph. I love Sanji's motivations. I love that he can't kind of like express them in the way that he wants to, because obviously he's kind of like honour bound to Zeph by this point. I love the interplay. I love Luffy bringing over Sanji. I love the conflict with Don Cregan, and you don't like him as a character. I love Mihawk coming in and fucking everything up.
Oh, Mihawk, yeah.
So cool.
The thing about Don Creek for me, though, the thing that makes him a weaker villain for me is that he never, at no point does it feel like he gets one up on Luffy. Like all the others feel like at some point they got one up on Luffy.
But that's the point in my mind, because Don Krieg is all about like kind of cruelty and force and betraying his crewmates, and Luffy is diametrically opposed to that.
That's a good argument. I mean, my favourite is the Arlong arc.
Yes,
Arlong Park.
Arlong Park is great because you've got the biggest bastard of a villain up to that point, and still probably one of the biggest overall.
I'd probably say my favourite one is the Black Cat's arc, is that it? Because Kuro is such a good villain,
isn't he? He's so cool.
Like, I love how he's patient and plays the long game while everyone else is sort of going in immediately.
Yes, absolutely. And they're underestimating him in terms of like his strength and
Like, it's definitely the arc.
I like how Usopp doesn't quite prove himself or like prove to everyone that he's right and he's not a liar, but still sort of just thinks, no, I have to fight for everyone instead rather than trying to prove himself.
I love Usopp is probably my favourite One Piece character. Like certainly early on he was my early favourite. I think because with his motivation with his father leaving, with his mother dying, he's so tragic. And he's so kind-hearted and pure. Fuck man, I love One Piece so much.
I especially love at the end of it where it's sort of revealed that everyone kind of likes Usopp, shouting the pirates are coming. Just like, oh, I overslept. Where's Usopp?
But also, like the comedy in One Piece is still just so good. Like
so good.
Even when Luffy's like, because he accidentally, it happens going into the Baratier arc. The Marines shoot a cannonball into the ship, and then Luffy deflects it, and the cannonball destroys part of Zeph's ship. So I don't know if that's what I can't remember if that's what happens in the live.
I think there is something.
It
like
is
that.
happens in both. Yeah.
So that's how he gets. That's how he has to work for Zeph. And then like Luffy is just fucking useless.
No, I think it was in the live action. You ended up working for Zeph because he didn't pay the bill.
Oh, that was it. Yes, so that's the thing they changed. He gives Luffy loads of tasks and he's shit at all of them. Like he's washing dishes and he's just throwing them in the sink. And one of the cooks goes there. How many of these have you broken? And Luffy's like, I was meant to be counting. And then Usopp and Luffy just being like so dumb with each other. I love the character chemistry, man.
You love how everyone respects each other, but is kind of a dick to one another.
Yeah.
Like again, when Luffy's working at the restaurant, the rest of the Straw Hats are just bullying him the entire time.
Totally. Yeah, they're just taking the piss out of him and everything. Like it really.
It's quite realistic how people react in real life.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, even just like the small bits of comedy, like when everyone's shocked, everyone's mouth just drops.
Yeah.
I don't know why that image is so funny to me.
It really made me. It reminded me actually one of the reasons I love One Piece, because I've got so far into the series, like 1,000 odd chapters, whatever. Like forgetting who the characters kind of were at the beginning and rewatching is proper like.
It's amazing. Here's the thing though, it's amazing the difference. I think this is one we can end it on. It's amazing the difference a year makes. Because last year we were talking about Bebop and how we had a terrible Netflix adaptation. We're now talking about One Piece and how that has a great Netflix adaptation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's also the one that's been renewed for a season 2.
Thank God.
Just to go back to it as well, I like how we continue. Like, Oda does not ignore all the other characters in the Straw Hats. Like you compared to someone like, for example, Sword Art Online, the characters have one arc and then they're just put to the side for Kirito. In One Piece, everyone gets numerous moments to shine.
It's really
Like
consistent.
even show like Naruto edges on doing that, but
Yeah, I'd say, honestly, I probably would. I'd say a lot of characters still have their moments. Like I think of Shikamaru has so many, for example.
Dragon Ball definitely has quite a bit of that. Like
like, especially once she gets like the Freezer and Android arcs.
like at that point, Tien and Yamcha go from like top guys to their filler.
Because it's famous joke about Tien. This is the last cool thing I'll ever do.
Yamcha just gets so shat on after Dragon Ball.
Yeah, massively.
Because the only highlight he has is in a filler where he holds off Majin Buu for a minute.
Oh yeah, which is saying something.
In the other world.
Oh,
But it's not even canon, so it doesn't matter.
Again, one of my favourite moments from DVA's Bridge, just to say, the fact you have any hope is amazing. Thanks, man. Yamcha, for the love of God, don't thank him.
Sorry, just go off topic. I think my favorite moment in the original Dragon Ball is where Bulma's wanting to get the Dragon Balls so that she can get a boyfriend. Yamcha's wanting the Dragon Balls so he can get over his fear of girls. So just like, let's hook up. That's literally how they get together.
Makes sense.
I just love it.
And unfortunately, in Z, Yamcha gets killed and Bulma hooks up with his killer.
Yeah. So I just a couple more parallels with the live action, and then obviously I'll kind of close things out. So they do change characters between for example, Zoro is a lot more serious in the live action, kind of less goofy.
Same with Nami.
Yeah, Nami's a lot more kind of like aloof, I think, in the live action. She's very comedic, kind of like very out.
I don't think anyone was endeared to Nami in the anime until we got to Arlong Park.
No, I liked her from the beginning.
Yeah,
she was a bitch on it. She was great at it.
She's like goofy, kind of conniving, and then like there's this whole other element too with the Arlong arc, which is great.
Again, I'm pissed off they cut the 4Kids version, cut her emotional leaving of the island.
Yes,
because that's so much of a character. I know they would have struggled to get the whole her getting a new tattoo done. They would have struggled because they would have to have acknowledged her mother's death. Which they don't do in that one.
It's funny though, like in One Piece, there's so few character deaths anyway. I was surprised, not surprised. Well,
God, Lord of the Rings has more characters that die and stay dead.
Most characters in One Piece die in flashbacks. If you're remembered, you're fucking dead, mate. Like, but Merry, the sheep guy from Usopp's arc, he dies in the live action.
He doesn't die in the anime.
He's hardly in the anime. Apart from at the end, he's just like gives Kaya some advice. But I'll say, so I watched the dub, which isn't available in the UK. You can use a VPN and watch it on Crunchyroll, I think.
But the DVDs are very heavily available. Not Blu-ray versions, weirdly.
Really? Well, you give me the Blu-rays, haven't you?
No, those are DVDs.
Oh, I thought they were Blu-rays. Okay,
that's why they're all in 4:3 most of the time.
Well, that makes sense.
Which is the same with me in the original Digimon.
Okay.
Radio DVD.
Again, they give Blu-rays to ones that don't make sense. Serious Moment's lane as Blu-ray, but Trigun doesn't.
But you got to remember as well, we're in Europe, which is considered a lower market for anime. We're not. We don't spend as much on anime as America does.
Tell that to Calvin and his jaws.
Yeah, Calvin is single-handedly making up for that disparity.
Fuck off.
But yeah, so if you can watch the dub, like the dub is fantastic.
I would say the Funimation dub. The 4Kids dub, don't bother. They cut like 100+ episodes.
Watch the 4Kids dub if you want a funny reflection.
Yeah, the guns being turned into water pistols, the juice instead of alcohol.
Sanji's awful French accent.
Yeah, but you have to make sure to at least listen to the One Piece rap once.
Yes.
At the very least.
Yeah.
We all have.
Especially because it actually gets worse as they add more crew members.
I bet it will, yeah. Like I say, how the fuck are they going to get around Brooke? Brooke is literally a skeleton. You've got to acknowledge that he's dead.
She was born a skeleton.
Sorry, he was not born he was a person.
Let's just say, I imagine they'll just say that. He was born a skeleton.
No, it just turns out it's just a costume he's wearing all the time. Yeah, he dresses up as a skeleton.
He got a fancy dress costume and the zip fell off.
He's just in it now. So I would definitely say it's worth going back to watch. It still holds up. It's still excellent. And actually, I think if you enjoyed the live action, it'll really supplement that experience and hold you over if you wanted to continue with the anime.
Absolutely,
live action's been in production, and season 2 is currently in production.
Yeah.
They're filming at the minute, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, they are. Yeah. Very exciting.
So I'm just getting a couple of my facts together for my bit because I don't want to get this
wrong. What
is
is the name of what I watched?
So basically, I went to do Jin Roh, The Wolf Brigade, which is a brilliant movie. It's basically, it's a political thriller slash sort of romance story with a slightly fairy tale analogue that's set in an alternate history.
Wait, fairy tale as in the old Grimm, or fairy tale as in the anime?
Grimm.
Okay, cool.
It's an analogue for Little Red Riding Hood, but it's set in the what's known as the Kerebos timeline.
What is that?
Well, it's basically it's kind of Moyoshi's baby. It's really his film. It's kind of his film, although he doesn't direct it. He's the guy who directed The Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, okay, sure.
He directed Ghost in the Shell, so it's kind of his baby, though he didn't direct it.
Kind of weird jump. Fairy tales to sci-fi.
Indeed.
Yeah, as you do.
But eventually, this timeline is. Correct me if I get something wrong on this one because it's a bit confusing. But basically, Germany wins World War II.
Oh yes, yeah.
But Japan sided with the Allies in this timeline, and also Germany was denazified before their victory because basically the assassination attempt on Hitler succeeded, and so there was a bunch of people in the German government at that time who were like, if we can get rid of him, we actually might have a chance of winning the war because he's a military.
He's a tosspot.
Because as a military tactician, he's useless. He's making us do stupid things that are costing us the war. So basically, because they got rid of Hitler, they ended up accidentally powering Germany.
Okay.
And so Germany now occupies Japan post World War II, and as a result, Germanic influence is a lot bigger in Japan rather than American influence, which we got at the end of World War II from that one. So that's the basic setup of it. And so like you get these like Wolf Brigade units, which is what the thing is titled with. And the film starts with a member shooting a sort of political terrorist who commits suicide by blowing herself up. And it's more about his guilt over the fact that she was so young. And they meet. He forms a sort of quasi romance with her sister.
As you do.
She doesn't, and I think they sort of imply halfway through they're not sure if she's aware that he's responsible for her sister's death or not. And it's the whole thing about one of the gifts she gives him is the Little Red Riding Hood book.
Yeah.
And so it's the whole thing of the big bad wolf. In fact, the director actually said, and thank you, Ben, a lot of this I'm going to be, to keep my sources, a lot of this I'm aping from Ben the Sage's video on the subject. He basically...
He didn't actually watch a video, he watched anime YouTubers describe the movie.
He basically, the director kind of said, I think he kind of didn't want to do it. So he said, I'll do it if you have a romance, if you let me make it a romance. And he said, okay, they're going to kick me off the project now. Now I said, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
And I went, oh shit, now
They don't do it if they do a romance. Okay, was Makoto Shinkai a part of this at all?
It's oh god, I'll get the name of the director because he actually has gone on to direct some really good stuff. But it's the imagery in it is fantastic. Like the way it's animated, it's very. You've got to like dark palettes.
Okay.
Because a lot of it is set in like tunnels and at night. It's a lot of flashbacks. There's a lot going on, a lot of political plays. It's like, how do we make propaganda out of this? How do we turn someone into a hero and then declare that they're enemy of the state and use that to say that there's nothing wrong with the state. It's this individual that's the problem. It's kind of that's where they go with. I mean, you can see the imagery of the poster. That's the striking imagery you get of the Kerebos.
Yeah, because was it also the inspiration for the Hellgas in Killzone?
Yeah, the Hellgas in Killzone really play a big part in it. The manga that's related to is called the Hellhounds Panzer Corps. So Oshii really is the creator of this thing, but they got Hiroyuki Okura in to direct it, and. He worked mostly as a character designer on Ghost in the Shell, but prior to this, hasn't really directed much since then. He directed A Letter to Momo, which I saw that movie and thought it was all right. It wasn't great.
Don't know that one.
I don't.
No.
And another one I haven't seen is a 10-minute web short called Robot on the Road.
intriguing.
So it's kind of weird that he never. I mean, maybe I'm missing some credits, but he didn't do much after.
I mean, what do you think about overall?
Oh, I think it's an amazing movie. If you can get your head around all the political alliances and conspiracies that are forming, it's mainly a character piece. It's basically a piece about someone wondering, did I do the right thing? Did I not? Am I better to be? Is it better to go along with things for convenience, or actually was this person right to do what they did, or did they just throw away their life? And he's kind of often thinking, why are you not more pissed off with me that your sister is dead? And I'm partially to blame.
Yeah, so there's a lot of kind of like coming to terms with guilt, figuring out what's right and what's wrong in terms of...
It's very much like that. I mean...
I know there are films that kind of cover this, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. But like, you know, so is he trying to like make up for things that he's done?
I think in his head he's sort of trying to do the bare minimum for that.
Okay.
In a sense that he doesn't really know what to do, so he just does the bare minimum, so he thinks, yeah, that's good enough.
Well, the most recent example would that be Godzilla -1.
Yes,
the main character.
Yeah, I agree with that. Maybe that's what I was thinking.
Godzilla -1 actually does have a bare thing, because it does both depict a Japanese society that is coming off their worst moments.
Yeah.
Well, yes, absolutely. Because that does parallel it, doesn't it? Then because it's an occupation.
But the difference is with Godzilla -1, they're telling actual history. The alternate history is just Godzilla being around. The alternate history on this one is a lot greater, because it's not only has Japan lost the war, they didn't. They didn't even side. They sided with different people and still lost.
They sided with Axis, they're the Allies.
Yeah. No, in this one, they sided with the Allies.
I just think, hearing that, I just think of that one scene from Death Clock. We can't get anything right!
I know there's I don't know if any of you guys have seen Man in High Castle, but or read it.
I watched a bit of the Amazon series.
Yeah, and that sort of parallels it with obviously like the Germans occupying.
Obviously, I had to watch that. It's based on a Philip K. Dick book.
Yes, I've not read it, but I understand.
I would always say with Philip K. Dick, watch the adaptations of his work rather than read the books, because they go into some weird places. I think the films do a much better job streamlining.
I've heard good things about Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
That's a massive influence on sci-fi. So much so, he even had a reference in Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Did it?
Yeah, because his name is tattooed across Rebecca's thigh.
What, Dick?
PKD.
PKD. No, it says Dick as well.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it wraps around the leg.
I did not notice that.
That is a very weird attack from Earthbound.
Yeah.
PK Dick!
But I'd say, though, if you liked Ghost in the Shell, very similar movie. It comes in a similar runtime. It's 102 minutes in total, so it's not a long movie.
Yeah.
Is this a lot to do with kind of like authoritarianism and like kind of, is that a theme that's covered?
Authoritarianism is kind of a theme, but it's also more. It's more about people, but it's never really addressed all that much. It's more about people being comfortable with authoritarianism.
Okay, interesting.
Just like real life.
Yes,
it's
the world is in shambles.
Any relation to current events or past is totally coincidental,
and hopefully not future events. But yeah, no, Ghost in the it's kind of. I mean, the two that come up most, so you're looking at Anime Planet, is Ghost in the Shell and Akira, and I think those two are very accurate.
I guess the difference is those two are much more sci-fi. Meanwhile, this one's more historical.
Yeah.
But it's with a hint of sci-fi added into it, because again, the Wolf Brigade looks very.
But with futuristic power armor.
Oh, that's cool.
The power armor is in there. It is kind of interesting though to see that Germanic influenced version of Japan. Though. That is very interesting, and obviously also, if you don't like dream sequences, you're not going to like this. There's quite a few dream sequences in it, and flashbacks.
So that's where Robert Rodriguez got the idea for Sharp Boy Lava Girl. Dream, 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 dream.
And what would you relate this to, if you can think of any shows, films?
Oh God.
If there are
one that kind of, in terms of like the theme of comfortable with authoritarianism, though it's a lot more optimistic in its ending, is Vampire Astronaut.
Okay, I don't know anything about that.
Do you remember the
Arena?
Arena.
Oh, Arena. I don't think I watched that one.
We did. There was the same season that Ranking of Kings came out.
Yeah.
It's a one I wasn't a big fan of.
Shit, yes. Sorry, I think you meant Arena, like Vampire Arena. Like,
no,
Again, unpopular opinion. I didn't really like that one.
I watched a few episodes of this.
Yeah, I quite liked it.
I quite liked it. Yeah.
Because I got to the point where they were ice skating. on that frozen lake.
That's. I think that's where I stopped.
And this is the one to do like a sort of like Russian-ified world, isn't it?
Yeah, that was I'm more going with like that was the only thing I could think of. Was it does say some?
I think basically it was the Russians compete with Germany to see who would get on the moon first.
Yeah.
With our space race.
I think the biggest issue, the thing about that one though was the big difference there is that one of them is about an underclass versus and how they're treated in an authoritarian society versus this one is about the military class.
Yeah, and here's one. How would you liken it to something like what the fuck is that show? The Isekai.
Saga Side of the Evil.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
nowhere near close.
Okay, sure.
Nowhere near close. They're both very, very different. If anything, though, Jin Roh, if I describe it in one word, it's haunting.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
It's a very haunting movie, and it leaves, and at the end, it kind of leaves you in a position of going, "Oh God."
Yeah.
Like it's an ending you're not going to come back from very.
No, it leaves you with a sense of discomfort.
It leaves you with a little sense of discomfort, but that's by design. It's designed.
Yes.
It's one of the few accessible ways you can check out the Kerebos art, which is spam multimedia. There's not many ways to actually get it over here. And this is one of the few ways to do it, and it's real. And it's. I don't know if they've done a reprint, but it was quite expensive when I got it. So I'm just diving in now. Fortunately, as I've just checked, it has been re-released on Blu-ray.
17 quid it looks like that.
And looks like they've done a bit of a restock of that, so you can now get it for a decent price. It's the
20 quid on
it's the only way to, and I'd really recommend watching it in Blu-ray. Like even if it's the 1999 levels of animation, it still holds up quite well. It's very similar to Ghost in the Shell in that regard. Like and also rather like Ghost in the Shell, you don't want to check out the ones where they added new animation to it that doesn't match the old.
Sorry, just while it's in my mind, the same thing happens on those One Piece DVDs you gave me as well. The sea animation has changed. It's like 3D in some sequences, but isn't in the original animation.
Yeah, no, I don't understand why they go back and do that.
Rikichi Onizuka, now that I think about it, occasionally does those 3D animations. And yeah, it never looks good.
No.
Put it this way, Ghibli never goes back and redoes their animation. I don't see why these companies do.
No.
Yeah. I think of like a bit of animation where the vice principal drives his Cresta. That's the name of the car. It drives his Cresta, and it just it's CG and it does not look good. Do it once as well. Once and never again. It's weird. It looks like fucking bowling animation.
Maybe I guess back then it was probably quite cutting edge, but maybe.
Because the only time that happened on Digimon was with the Metal Greymon evolution, the War Greymon evolution.
Yeah,
is that right?
Differences, I think.
It's not CGI.
Differences, I think, with Digimon, that CGI will probably work better.
Yes,
because of the nature of the Digiworld.
I would argue that my one has the best animation out of the four of them.
Yeah, being a film.
But as a film, it's a bit of an unfair advantage. So I'd say out of the three that were left, I would probably say Digimon has the best animation overall. As the one, I think it's aged the best.
Because it is the most varied.
I'd probably say One Piece, honestly.
Yeah, that's where my mind goes to. But I also haven't seen enough Digimon really to, or I haven't seen any Onizuka to watch.
Yeah, I think GTO. The animation for GTO is good, but it's not that good. As good, I'd say.
I would say, I would also say as well, though. Again, you can really tell watching this, though. The guy, Mamoru Oshii, is behind this universe. It really has all of his hallmarks on it, and
how would you say it compares to kind of big hitters like Ghost in the Shell, Akira, etc.?
I think I would say I have more of an affection towards those two. Put it this way, I really went out of my way to see Akira when it got re-released in 4K.
Yes.
I'm not sure I would go out of my way to go and see Jin Roh.
No.
Like, even though it's a film I really like. I'm not sure I would go out of my way to. I don't think it needs to be remastered for 4K. Like, sometimes it's okay for something to. If there's anything that watching Longlegs taught me and watching The Lighthouse taught me, it's that sometimes going for a style of having 4x3 makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like quite a niche sort of like feeling. Like...
This is incredibly niche.
Yeah.
Like I think if I hadn't watched the episode of Anime Abandon where Ben and Sage talked about it, I never would have watched it.
Like I said, GTO is kind of cult. This is definitely more from what I can tell.
This is unbelievably cult. Yeah. Like when people bring up Oshii, they only really bring up Ghost in the Shell, and this never comes in conversation. Well, I'll double check what comes up like when you talk about him.
And so, what kind of person would you recommend this to? Like, if they liked certain shows, how would you kind of like?
I think you've got to be, if you're up for something that has like, the best way to describe it is if you're up for something, if you're up for like haunting tragedies, I'd say people like the Fate series weirdly, and that's it. If you like Fate,
interesting.
If you like Fate Zero,
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah,
you might end up liking this because it's very similar in the sense of you sort of know something bad is coming.
Yeah.
But you're sort of begging for someone to do something to stop it.
What about? I know you don't like the film, but Grave of the Fireflies.
Yeah, well, those two actually did come up on that page similarly.
Similarity.
Yeah, so I would say there's something there.
Oh, we also did Angel's Egg, which is inspiration for the Dark Souls 3 DLC.
He's got the original. He did the concept for Angel's Egg.
Wow.
Yeah, it was interesting when you watched Oshii come up with his own ideas, whereas with other stuff he was like directing adaptations, like Ghost in the Shell. He's directing someone else's manga.
It was weird that they made him into Oshinoko. Like, that seems very not his style.
Funny.
No, also the Pat Labor films, which are quite widely beloved in the mecha community.
What's that?
Pat Labor. Basically, if the Japanese police force got mechs.
That's fun. I like that. Do the criminals also have?
Yes.
Excellent. Very cool.
That
definitely sounds like some kind of a.
Did you write that?
Maybe
Kid Kogi or something. Actually, here's something. Here's something you like from GTO.
Oh yeah.
I keep forgetting what her name is. What the fuck is her name? Kanzaki. During the field trip arc, when I go to Okinawa, Onizuka sort of puts a bunch of guys and girls in the same hotel rooms, just mostly because one of them was getting bullied by a group of girls, so he wanted to sort of try and get them to get along. Kanzaki ends up in the room with a bunch of Gundam fans, and they all talk about Gundam a lot.
Perfect.
So
And it's funny because she sort of punishing Onizuka because she said I didn't get any sleep last night. I stayed up all night watching Gundam.
Some things never change in Japan.
Perfect.
So
it was hilarious.
I think I would like to end on that note, actually.
Yeah.
So we're back at the end of August. So we've made up for our missing June.
Yes, we have.
Yep.
What's our next topic?
Well, that's the thing. We don't really have a topic at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause
Anime fights.
we
No
could
way.
do another 3 episodes one.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
We haven't done one of them in a while, and I really want to get people watching Bungo Stray Dogs.
I'm up for a 3 episodes.
Do you know what? I think let's do. Have you watched Bungo Stray Dogs?
No, I've not.
You haven't.
No.
I haven't. So I'm going to make it so that it's a one-off first 3 episodes. All of us are going to watch Bungo Stray Dogs first 3 episodes.
Sick.
In fact, if you're willing to, 3 episodes has been a minimum. 6 max.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm going to go to 6 episodes for it
Okay. And where's it available to watch?
It's on
Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll.
in both dub and sub.
Which should you recommend?
Both are great, honestly. I recommend both.
I'm going to
I
watch in
love the other
dub.
Cool.
at least.
I'll have a look what's. I'll see
But
what-
so
I'm rewatching Bungo Stray Dogs.
so
sick.
we're doing a what is it like to go into Bungo Stray Dogs in the now
Cool.
type topic. So thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you in August for that.
Wonderful.
Woo.
Goodbye everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.